My name's Carly and I'm 26 years old. So let me take you back to when it all began. Picture this. A bright-eyed and hopelessly romantic girl named Carly is head over heels for her charming boyfriend, Rio. We had dreams, we had plans, and we were ready to take on the world together. Love was in the air, and it felt like nothing could go wrong. In the beginning, everything seemed just perfect. Rio was sweet and kind and showered me with affection. I couldn't help but fall deeper in love with him every day. But then, like a sneaky little snake, something started to creep into our relationship. Or should I say, someone. Enter Miriam, Rio's dear old mama. Now, I'm all for close-knit families and strong bonds, but this woman took it to a whole new level. From the very start, it was clear that I was being pushed aside, playing second fiddle to the ever-present Miriam. I mean, seriously, she was practically attached to Rio's hip. Now, I'm not one to settle for anything less than the best treatment, honey. I've got a strong head on my shoulders, and I refuse to be overlooked or taken for granted. So, naturally, I started to feel a bubbling resentment toward my sweet husband-to-be. But something was nagging at me, something that made me feel like I couldn't back down and say no. It was that impending wedding day looming over me like a dark cloud. So what did I do? I made the ultimate commitment, against my better judgment. Carly and Rio became Mr. and Mrs. Castile, sealing the deal with the grand celebration of love. I have to admit, the wedding itself was pretty damn great. The music, the dancing, the flowing champagne, it was like a fairy tale. And in that blissful moment, I couldn't help but feel hopeful. Hopeful that things would change, that our new journey as husband and wife would finally be about us and not Miriam. You see, Miriam was a special type of woman. Miriam, that mother-in-law from hell, managed to find a way to insert herself into every single one of our plans when we were dating. I'm talking about those trips that were meant for just me and Rio, exploring the world and making memories, but nope. Miriam had to swoop in like a vulture, claiming her spot in every adventure. And it wasn't just the trips. Oh no, it was the family gatherings, the holidays, and even the mundane Sunday brunches. Miriam always had to be there, front and center, stealing the spotlight. It was like she had an invisible leash around my husband, tugging him away from me whenever she pleased. It was a day after the wedding. We were still reeling in our marital bliss, and we were getting ready for our flight to, drum roll please, South Africa. As we packed our bags, Rio, that sweet soul, mentioned how glad he was to have a live-in tour guide, yours truly, to show him around the beautiful country. I laughed and reassured him that he wouldn't get lost and that I'd be his navigator through the unknown terrain. Little did I know that our plans were about to be thrown off course in the most unexpected way. Just as we were caught up in our excited chatter about the adventures awaiting us, a knock echoed through the house. Miriam, that meddlesome mother-in-law of mine, had arrived uninvited, suitcases in tow. Seriously? Talk about crashing the party. Oh, Mom, hey. Hi, Miriam. You must have not heard. Our flight is for a couple of hours. We're getting ready to leave now. Yes, dearie, I'm well aware. I thought you could use some company on your honeymoon. I thought that I was still drunk from the wedding party the night before. What the hell was she talking about? I mean, who does that? Who crashes their son's honeymoon? Miriam. I was dumbfounded, to say the least. This was supposed to be our time, our escape from the clutches of her overbearing presence. But there she stood, ready to insert herself into our private getaway, just as she always does. I shot a glance at Rio, hoping he'd put his foot down and defend our boundaries, but to my dismay, he just stood there, his eyes avoiding mine, beaming at the fact that there'd be an extra company at what is supposed to be a private moment between a couple. I could feel the frustration welling up inside me, ready to burst like a shaken-up soda can. I was sick of Miriam always being around, and I was sick of Rio acting as if this was normal. What the actual hell, Miriam? This is our honeymoon. You can't just barge in here. Oh, sweetheart, I just thought I could join in on the fun. Plus, who else would take care of you two? I shot her a glare that could pierce through steel. How dare she insinuate that we couldn't take care of ourselves? We were adults, for crying out loud. We didn't ask for your help, Miriam. We can handle ourselves just fine. Thank you for the concern, but you may leave now. Oh, nonsense. Both of you need my help. Obviously, especially Rio. I could feel my blood boiling at her audacity. She had no boundaries, no respect for our privacy. It was time to put my foot down. Rio is a grown man, Miriam, and I'm grown too. We don't need you babying us or inserting yourself into our plans. You've done that plenty of times before we were married, and now you want to crash our honeymoon? Are you serious? Well, Rio doesn't seem to have a problem with it. Now do you, sweetie? Not at all. He's lying. Oh, yeah? Then why was he the one who suggested it? I paused, and I began to calculate the different ways that I could murder my new husband. I glared at him with piercing eyes, and he stared back at me in embarrassment. Now, ladies, let's not get worked up about this. What matters is that we're all here, we're all alive, and we're all about to enjoy a well-deserved vacation. As the reality of the situation set in, my mind started to connect the dots. Rio had never stood up to Miriam, never set boundaries with her, and now he had the audacity to apparently invite her on our honeymoon? Something didn't add up. It was as if Miriam's meddling presence wasn't the only issue at hand. Could it be that Rio was secretly a mama's boy, willingly inviting his mother into our intimate moments? Nonetheless, I was seething. As we hustled to the airport, I was fuming like a kettle ready to boil over. It wasn't just Miriam's unwelcome intrusion that had my blood boiling. I had also cracked the code. Rio, my supposed partner in crime, had been secretly inviting his mama dearest on all our outings. Can you believe it? I had been played like a fool, and my anger was hotter than the sun. I had no idea that I was marrying an obsessed mama's boy. If I'd known that, I would have turned around when walking down that aisle. I guess that's what I got for marrying someone after only knowing them for a couple of months. The car ride to the airport was a silent affair, tension filling the air like a cheap perfume. I sat there seething with resentment, plotting my revenge against both Miriam and Rio. Was he truly a mama's boy? More interested in coddling his mom than building a future with me? Well, let me tell you, this girl doesn't take betrayal lightly. During the entire plane ride, I kept my cool like a pro, channeling my inner zen. Rio and Miriam were yapping away like two peas in a pod, completely oblivious to the storm brewing within me. It was like they were in their little love bubble, leaving me to stew in my anger. At times, I swear they were more in sync than a well-oiled machine. It almost felt like they should just get married and be done with it. Fast forward to our arrival in Cape Town, where we were greeted by the warm embrace of the resort we had booked. The staff showered us with love and glitter, welcoming us to our honeymoon suite. Finally, some romance, right? Wrong. Rio, for the second time in 2 days, dropped a bombshell. Hey, babe, I've been thinking, since Mom's here, it'd be better if we switched to a family room, you know? Quality family time and all that jazz. I swear my jaw hit the floor harder than a bowling ball. Was this some sick prank? We had planned for the privacy and intimacy of our honeymoon suite only for Rio to flush it down the toilet like last night's leftovers. It was like he cared more about satisfying his mom's whims than honoring our plans and desires. Oh, hell no. Are you seriously changing the game just because Miriam decided to tag along? We booked the honeymoon suite for a reason. Rio, it's our time to get away from it all. The room fell into an icy silence as the truth settled in. Miriam smirked as if she just won the lottery, loving every second of my discomfort. Oh, darling, calm down. It's just a room. We'll all have a fabulous time together. I clenched my fists, refusing to let her dismiss my feelings. This was my moment to rise, to let them know that I wasn't some pushover they could control. No, Miriam, it's not just a room. It's a symbol of our independence and the start of our married life. You've already meddled enough, and now you want to crash our honeymoon suite? Not on my watch, lady. Honey, calm down. Don't you think you're overreacting? The hotel staff hissed in second-hand pain as if they could feel the rage that was about to ensue after asking such a stupid question. But to everyone's surprise, including mine, I was calm. It appeared as though I even had one of my infamous crazed smiles plastered on my face, making everyone around us feel a bit uneasy. You see, one thing about me, when I get mad, when I get really mad, I don't yell. I don't scream. I get even. And so my remaining calm was simply redirecting all my energies into making a plan to get my well-deserved retributions. Babe, are you okay? I've never been better, baby. You want to change the suite? That's fine with me. Are you sure? Because your eyes look murderous. Murderous? Don't be ridiculous, babe. I'm fine. The hotel staff, clearly afraid of me, began to frantically call other management teams littered across the resort, figuring out if they could change our room, especially on such last-minute notice. I don't know if it was grace or the fact that these people looked like they wanted to keep their heads on, but they managed to find a room for us. Thank God, because one more mishap and I was going to blow. So picture this. The resort is like a fancy South African paradise oozing culture and cuisine at every corner. Rio, Miriam, and I, after settling down, decided to explore and soak up all that rich goodness. Now, here's where the story gets super spicy. I was feeling tired from the flight and I wanted to rest. But babe, I want to do the couples massage and the hiking and the tubing and the cheese board stuff and the wine tasting. Remember the wine tasting? How could I forget about the wine tasting? That's going to be my favorite part. But I'm drained today, especially after the oh-so-pleasant bombshell you decided to drop on me. Oh, come on, Carly. You can't tell me you're still mad at that. Tell me something, Rio, because I've been thinking about this for a minute. Whenever your mom would join us when we were dating, did you tell her to come? I didn't exactly tell her to come. Rio, are you kidding me right now? And you had the nerve to be surprised when you'd see her pull up to our dates and our other outings? Because I know how upset you'd be. So you decided to lie to me up till the day we got married? I was hoping that once we get married, you'd see that she's not so bad after all. I don't care if she was Mother Teresa herself. I don't want to share husband and wifey things with my mother-in-law. It's weird, and honestly, you need to realize how weird it is for you too, mister. Whatever, Carly. Go and sleep. I will, and when I wake up, I want the guy I dated back. As was mentioned, I needed some beauty sleep after the long flight. No shame in that, right? I figured I'd catch up and enjoy those delightful couples massages and hiking adventures tomorrow. But oh, how wrong I was. The sun rose on a new day, and I was ready to dive headfirst into some wine tasting. I mean, who doesn't love a good glass of vino? But guess what? Rio, that sneaky devil, decided to take Miriam along for the ride. The audacity! Wait, hold up. You're telling me you took Mamma Mia over here to the wine tasting? That was supposed to be our thing, Rio. Come on, Carly. I thought it would be fun for Mom to experience it too. We can do something else together. I told you that we should have done it yesterday. Yes, dear, we need to bond as a family. You'll find something else to enjoy, I'm sure. This was the cherry on top of the betrayal sundae. My revenge plans were brewing, and they just got a whole lot juicier. So I took a step back, assessed the situation, and realized I had to think bigger. It wasn't enough to make their trip miserable. I had to bring the thunder and shake things up. They thought they could trample all over my honeymoon dreams? Well, think again. I see what's going on here. You two are in love with each other and not in a family type way. What? How could you say something like that? Oh, shut up, Miriam. You should be in jail for all the grooming you've done to your son. God knows how long it's been going on. Carly, stop it right now. You know I'm in love with you, and no one is going to replace that. Yeah? Well, why do I feel like it's already happening? I'm married to you, Rio. I shouldn't have to fight any other woman to get your love and attention, especially your mother. You're being rude and inconsiderate, Carly. My mom and I are a package deal. It's not our fault if you don't know how to love your own mother. I stormed out of the room. Rio talking about my mom was a sore spot for me. He knows how crazy my relationship with her is. I mean, we haven't even seen each other in years, and he dared to throw it in my face like that? I knew what I had to do, and it was going to be big. I wandered all across the resort, enjoying what activities I could, even meeting some fun people, and reconnecting with my mother tongue that I had lost all those years ago. It was late into the night when I was done with my activities. I wasn't going to stop myself from that wine tasting just because my idiot husband would rather be with his mom than his wife. I got back to our room and found Miriam and Rio sound asleep in their rooms. I then packed all of my belongings as well as all our credit and debit cards and headed for the door. I greeted the people at the reception, telling them that I'm no longer staying and I had to leave because of a family emergency. I made my way to the airport and boarded a flight back home. Even though the ticket prices were crazy expensive, I didn't care. I had to leave. And I had to leave those idiots suffering. Thankfully, there was an available seat, and I made my way back to Florida, trying to leave behind the toxicity that threatened to ruin my mood. Okay, so picture this. I've just left that gorgeous South African resort, bags in hand, and all the money, credit cards, and debit cards that we brought with us, and get on board that plane. During that excruciating 18-hour flight back home, I was off the grid. No calls, no texts, just me and the clouds. But the moment my feet hit the ground, boom, my phone goes berserk, blowing up with incoming texts and missed calls from both Rio and Miriam. I dial Rio's number and he picks up right away. Oh boy, the fireworks are about to begin. Hey Rio, miss me already? Where the hell are you, Carly? And why the hell did you take all the money? Oh, Rio, my dear, what's the matter? Afraid you can't enjoy some more couples massages with your mother? You two make me sick. This isn't a game, Carly. We're stranded here with no money. Well, maybe if you had treated me better, we wouldn't be in this mess. Are you kidding me? You were supposed to be my tour guide, Carly. I don't know the language, the culture, or anything. Not my problem, Rio. Figure it out. But this wasn't part of the plan. Yeah, well, neither was inviting your mother-in-law to our honeymoon. Honestly, what the hell is wrong with you? How would you be okay with that? I told you we have a special bond. Oh, isn't that lovely? Well, let's hope that that special bond of yours can get you some money fast before they kick you out of the resort. I could hear Miriam yelling in the background, hurling all sorts of curses and insults at me, but I couldn't care less. And what about us? What about our marriage? Marriage? Huh. I'm getting an annulment, Rio. I don't want anyone to know about this embarrassing lapse in judgment I had when I decided to marry you. I hope you and your mother are happy together. And Rio? Yeah? Enjoy South Africa. At that moment, Miriam grabbed the phone from Rio and said, You wench! Do you think you can play us like this? You're insane. Just wait until I sue you for everything you're worth. Oh, pipe down, Grandma. Do you think that you're so special? If you sue me, I'll just tell them the reason why I did everything. Sure. You'd get my money, but everyone would cut you off once they realized that you're in love with your son. Me? In love with my son? That's ridiculous. Almost as ridiculous as that hairpiece, sweetie. We all know that it's made out of horse hair. What hairpiece? This is my real hair. Yeah? Keep telling yourself that. Good luck in SA, by the way. I hung up the call and proceeded to block both of them from contacting me. I knew that I had to unblock and face them eventually, for the annulment, of course. But boy, oh boy, was I enjoying this. My only regret is not being able to see the looks on their faces once they realized that they were screwed since they had no money. That'll teach those two to mess with me and my time for enjoyment. I missed out on a perfectly good vacation because of those two. That's the last time I meet someone off of Craigslist and decide to get hitched in just a couple of months of knowing each other. Regardless, I could say that looking back at it now, the entire situation was quite hilarious. I even went ahead and started a rumor that the two of them were in some kind of special relationship, if you get my drift. Those two were weirdos, and even though I'm still embarrassed about being associated with those numbskulls, I thought that I'd share my story here, finally facing my demons and hopefully teaching some of you all that these mama's boys are crazy. But guess what? I'm crazier.